Tyler Fortier is a young, ambitious, busy songwriter based out of Eugene, Oregon, and he's joining us now here on Our Kind of Music. Tyler, how you doing, man?
I'm doing well. Thank you so much for doing this crazy video interview with me.
Hey, I hope it catches on.
I think it will.
Good, good. So, you've been busy, real busy,
I have
especially
been.
last year. You put out what, 3 albums?
3 albums. Yeah, that was sort of I mean it was accidental. I was really just going in to record one record, and we just recorded so many songs and had these leftover things. And then by chance I just happened to write 9 songs in a week period, a 1 week period about the Old West.
You wrote
And I
them
thought,
9 songs in 1 week?
yeah, that was like that never happens. It was really weird, and they were all songs that took place in the 1800s. And I was like, oh, that might be interesting to sort of get out my old 8-track recorder, like lo-fi stuff, and just record it because there was a lot of stuff happening that was out of my hands at that time with the other records we were recording. Like stuff was being mixed, or I was waiting on musicians.
Mm-hmm.
So I was just going crazy because I feel like I always have to be working on something or doing something, and so I just recorded those and ended up thinking they were interesting and decided to release that as well. So it was sort of just like, I wasn't really planning at the beginning of the year to release, I guess the end of 2010 to release the 3 CDs. It just sort of, I had the material and I thought it'd be a good thing to keep my name in the press and annoy people by seeing my name and things like that. But
What now? Those 9 songs that you said were all took place in the 1800s.
yeah, that's the first record I released called "And They Rode Like Wildfire, Sneaking Through the Hills 'Neath the Scarlet Sun."
Couldn't come up with
The
a
short,
shorter title, huh?
the short title. You should have heard the long title.
Oh, that's the short version.
Um,
Now you were saying that was kind of low. It was low tech recording.
yeah.
Did the final production end up being that too? Did you use a lot of your original recordings and then dub onto that, or what'd you do?
Yeah, I mean, it's pretty lo-fi. I overdubbed some piano and things like that. Um, but for the most part, it's just me and a dobro or me and acoustic guitar. And, you know, I recorded most of it in my parents' garage in Bend, Oregon.
Oh
And
yeah,
it's, I mean, it's pretty rough around the edges, I'd say.
yeah, but it still
Um,
has. I mean, yeah, I listened to it and it still has a good clean sound to it. It's just not overproduced or anything, but
yeah, well, I mean,
still ended up with a
I,
good sound.
well, I appreciate that. I went back and listened to it because I had been away from it for so long just recently, and I thought it sounded really awful. Like, um,
Your own worst critic, huh?
yeah, I guess. But so that's nice to hear that it's not. So I was thinking, I was looking back on it, and I was like, oh, this is just, I don't know, little too rough, a little too out there. But
Well, then the next album you put out, Fear of the Unknown, the production quality of that was like 180 degrees different. Um,
yeah, and that's what I was trying to do. Um, I mean, I always I want to release things that have their own, I don't know, character. I want each record to have like a distinctive
you want it to
sort
stand
of,
alone and
yeah.
yeah.
And I don't know if that's good or bad. I mean, I think I get a lot of criticism. I think from some press people about it being inconsistent. Not having
Well, yeah, but then there's
solid.
the other side of the coin where they could say, well, it's just more of the same. You know, I mean,
Right. I mean, yeah, it's you can't win with some people. But
yeah.
I mean, I like to do that. And Fear the Unknown to me was sort of I wanted to go really big,
Hmm.
like horns and strings, and I almost wanted it to feel like a E Street Band type of feel. And that was the first record I've ever done where it sort of felt like I had a band. Or it's always been like studio musicians coming in or something like that, or there was no sort of relationship with other than coming in and recording. And this record was like a band. My fiance, Erin Flood, she sings with me, so she's been doing that a little bit more.
Is she
Um,
on the new one, or is she on some of the other stuff from last year?
she sings on she sings on all three of the records that
Oh, really?
it, yeah. So the the last song on the lo-fi and they rode like wildfire.
Hmm.
That's us, the duet, the piano duet, waiting
Oh,
for
okay.
Evelyn. And she sings on Fear of the Unknown and Bang on Time and Dreams Are Like Fire, the new single. So
So through
um,
all that, she still stayed with you.
yeah,
So that says something.
I lucked out.
Yeah, I think you got to keep her.
Yeah. Um, yeah, I mean, well, what were we talking about?
So we were talking about the
Oh,
production
the band.
value that you put into Fear of the Unknown, um, and how you took it so much different from the previous one. The title of
Yeah.
which I can only remember the first three words, and they rode that one. It's totally different production wise from that one. But
Right.
now Fear of the Unknown, it wasn't quite as thematic as the previous, but it still had a theme, a little bit darker feel to it. And you
Yeah.
know, where did
Well,
that come from?
I consider the and they would like wildfire my like a first my shot at like a concept record.
Hmm.
Not all the stories tie in together like a true concept record,
Hmm.
but the fact that they're all take place in this time, and that's as close as I'm maybe am gonna get to a concept record.
Yeah, well,
Maybe that is a
it
concept
hit me
record.
as a collection of stories from that time. Not that they were tied together, but it was still a collection of stories. Did that stem from like maybe a writing exercise you were doing, as far as a short story or something? Did it stem from
Uh,
that?
what it was I just turned on the TV and there was some movie on called uh, Wild Bill with Val Kilmer,
Oh yeah.
and I didn't even watch the whole thing. I watched like maybe 30, 30 minutes of it. And I just wrote the song about Wild Bill Hickok, and
And
that's
that's
the
that's what
first
triggered
song,
it.
Dead Man's Hand, on the record. And for whatever reason, that opened some sort of floodgates. But Fear of the Unknown, I think there are some. It's definitely not a concept record, but there's some undertones of like this Armageddon type of scenario.
Yeah, definitely there
Like
is. Yeah.
all the characters in that or on that record all all have to be somewhere,
Hmm.
and they have to be there now. There's like a great sense of urgency happening in all the stories on that record.
Yeah, I think my favorite track off that was "Come Back Home."
Oh, cool.
Yeah, I like that song. Where did this uh, the feeling of that? Where did the place you were at then? Where did that come from? All this almost impending doom type of thing. Because I was expecting a happy ending song at the end, and there really wasn't one.
There wasn't one of
No,
those. Yeah.
it just kind of left you hanging, like, oh shit.
Yeah. Um, well, that was in the I was writing those songs on my first big tour in 2010.
Uh-huh.
The first time I really went out on the road, and I think I was gone for 2.5 months, um, in 40 different cities.
Oh, and that's
So
when you wrote those.
that's when I wrote a majority of them.
Mm-hmm.
So I was trying to write like a novella,
Uh-huh.
which incidentally is really hard to do. I don't. I was trying to flex my creative muscle,
Yeah.
if that's a thing, and I got like a page done, and I just couldn't do it. I just didn't have the chops to do it. But incidentally, all these songs stemmed from this story I was trying to write, and it was sort of this impending doom. The book I was trying to write was like a World War III scenario where our soldiers were actually prisoners of war, like our own prisoners of war. Like it got to the point where we had to, the U.S. Imprisoned people to fight because no one wanted to fight anymore. It was
Your next one, the third one you put out last year, Bang on Time. Out of the three, just personally, that was my favorite. I really liked
oh,
that one.
I've been hearing that. I think if anyone talks to me about the records, like if anyone has listened, they say that's their favorite.
Yeah, I just love the overall tone of it, and the
Great.
production value on that is excellent too. I
Thank you
mean,
so much.
now do you work
Yeah,
on your own arrangements, or is it like a co-producing type relationship that you have in the studio?
the more I'm producing, I think there's a good balance of letting the musicians you're working with be creative,
Mm-hmm.
guiding the ideas, saying, knowing that you want something at a certain spot and the impact you want it to have on the listener,
Yeah.
and then um, letting the musician um, do it, and not keep them in a box to say, these are the notes I
Mm-hmm.
want you to play. There are cases where like I'll have a line written, that I want to do, but
Right. Right.
for the most part, I just working with crazy talented musicians
So you
that
give a
are
lot of freedom to the people you work to have input and
yeah,
yeah.
I do. I mean, they're just so talented, it'd be crazy to not
So I take
let
it
them.
I take it you're not following the trend of some artists where it's like they just get everything down and then just really overdo it in the mix later, with basically synthesizing things. And because you, what I've noticed about your recordings is they still have that human feel and factor in it that keeps it warm.
Yeah, I definitely like to keep it more organic.
Yeah.
Um, that's just, you know, Americana music.
Yeah. Now, when you were on the road last year, hit 8 states. Did you write any new stuff along the way during that time period when you were
Yeah, I
touring?
was writing or well, actually finishing up Bang on Time songs. I mean,
Oh, okay. Yeah, because you
and I'm
released that in
always,
what, October? That Bang on Time came out in October,
yeah,
November, or something.
October. So, I mean, even if I have a record and it's done, I mean, there are times where I was like, okay, I can't write today because I'll really piss off Matt, the guy that's mixing the record. I'm
Oh
like,
yeah.
hey, dude, hold on, but he's done.
Now,
And and Matt Greco, he mixed Bang on Time and Fear the Unknown,
oh
and
really?
he plays keys for me as well. But he's
Hmm.
just a
Oh,
great,
he's your keyboardist.
yeah.
Oh, okay. So he did a
So
lot of
he
the
so
studio
he
work.
yeah, so he mixes and
Yeah.
he does just an amazing job.
No, it sounds great. Like I said, especially well, the production of the second one and then the third one. I think it's just because the third one just became my favorite just because of the feel of the songs and everything. But so you also picked up in 2011 you picked up a main sponsor and that's Ninkasi beer. And
Well,
so
that's
does that
actually
mean you
been
always have a constant supply of Total Domination IPA available, or
well. I try not to take advantage
I would?
of of.
It's good
uh,
beer, but
that's great beer.
yeah.
That's actually been
So,
I've had a
what is the
relationship.
relationship between the two of you, though? I mean, do they help on promotion, advertising, or?
Well, I've had a relationship with them since 2009. So that's not a totally new thing. Um, they help out with, there's a certain amount allotted through
Sure.
the year.
Well, that's great. It's always good to have a sponsor,
Yeah, it's great.
especially
It's
one that you
awesome.
like, you know.
They're really great people.
Now, what are your plans now for this year? You've released the one video and the one song. Is this going to come together as an album, or are you just going to do single releases?
I mean, I feel like I shot myself in the foot last year with doing 3 CDs. Um,
Why is that?
well, the idea was to be promoting and touring behind them all, and getting my name in the press and
Yeah,
reviews and stuff, and
and that's an awful lot of material to cover.
it overwhelmed people.
Yeah,
So if someone covered one, 4 months later, then they're not. Well, you just released the CD. I'm not going to put you in.
right. You might not get the press having them that close together. Yeah,
Yeah, and sort of, I thought my idea going into it was, okay, well, this would be great. So I don't know. I mean, and the more I think about it too, is it is for me to really get invested in a record as a listener.
mm-hmm.
Spend a lot of time with it, and
Yeah,
it was maybe too quick to be releasing what I thought was really quality material. But if you release, well, quantity, people are going to just assume it's not quality. You know what I mean?
yeah.
Like
That's
it's
true. I mean, I would imagine the first reaction would be, "Oh, geez, he just put one out 4 months ago. I mean, how much
yeah,
different could this one be?" Without giving it a chance.
right.
And also sometimes people have a set budget, for buying records. You got to make a choice. Well, that one, this one, and
Yeah,
even though they
totally.
each one of those have a totally different feel to each one, you know, they're not going to know that just looking at the cover. So yeah,
Yeah.
you might not do something like that again. It was
Well, I
just
don't
something
think
you
I'll ever
had to
do that
do.
again. Yeah, I mean, it was just, you know, I had the material and
Hmm.
I just wanted to go for broke and
But
just
they're out there, and it's still promotion's
yeah, the records don't
promotion. So
expire.
you know,
Yeah, I want to spend 2012 still promoting the. I mean, I really love Bang on Time, that record. I think that's my favorite
yeah.
out of the three, and I want to spend get it the proper promotion.
And
Uh,
that material seems like it would go over real well. Well, also the ones off of and they rode like wildfire would still work well in a solo performance setting.
yeah,
Some of
and
those.
I do a lot of songs from those records and Fear of the Unknown. Just
Yeah. So are you touring much this year, or
um, I haven't been. I'm heading out for like a week at the end of April and beginning of May.
uh huh?
Um, but I guess my main, like I said, so I'm releasing digital singles,
Mm-hmm.
each with a music video, and I'm sort of spreading that out throughout the year. It's a little more easy to digest,
And
you
each
know,
one's going to have a, a
video with it.
professional produced video to go along with it.
Well, I don't know if they'll be professionally produced. At least two of them will.
Well, the first one looked great. You know,
Yeah, Woodkey Productions did a great job
yeah.
on that.
But you're not sure if you're going to bring all this together and release an album, or just
Yeah, I'm just not sure. I mean,
yeah.
personally, I don't like doing digital singles.
And it's a shame, but with everything going more digital, where releases are strictly digital, there's certain elements that get lost, like notes and things like that. I mean, yeah, you can put out a digital version of the liner notes, which is good, but because well, obviously, I'm old school to where I love liner notes. It gives me more information about it and the lyrics and things
I'm old
like
school
that.
too.
Hmm.
I need the physicality. I've
Yeah,
never bought anything digitally. I just can't. It just doesn't seem real to me.
yeah, yeah.
Um,
It is different, but we've become a society of instant gratification and instant
exactly.
purchase, and
Exactly. So I'm trying to move with the trends
yeah,
to do
yeah.
that. So there is a potential of all the songs I'm releasing coming together on a record.
Hmm.
Um, I've also been writing other songs that it's like, oh, this would be great on a record. I'd love to release vinyl someday. I'm just gonna keep writing.
Well, actually, I see that happening more and more too.
Well, there is a sort of a doing a digital download card with a vinyl.
Right.
So that, I mean, my focus, my main focus really. I'm sorry if I'm jumping all over right
That's
now.
okay. I do the same thing.
Um, I I've been besides working on my own stuff, I'm producing um, this record right now by a guy named Mike Serber.
Yeah.
It's his debut solo record. So I've been working on that since December. So on top of the releasing my digital singles and recording, I've been producing and tracking, engineering his full length record,
Cool. So you're
which
getting your chops
yeah
down in the studio too, working on other
yeah
people's stuff. That's great. That's great.
yeah, and that's just hugely rewarding. I mean, I think I'm more proud of this project than any of my projects.
Well, it was good talking to you again, man.
Yeah, it was great. It's been years. I
Yeah.
feel like.
Yeah, it's been a while. All right.
Uh,
Well, Tyler, thanks for joining us here on Our Kind of Music, and good luck to you in the next year. Keep
Thank you
busy.
so much for having me.
All right.
Take care.